Alright, so a lot of people on NCAA know that the man-to-man defense on this year's game is not all that great. And so most people, myself included, we're just going to play zone defense most of the time. I play zone defense like 80-85% of the time. And the thing about that is when you're playing people online, most of the time they're going to get used to you playing zone defense. And so that's where having some man-to-man defenses that you can work in is potentially advantageous. And here's the defense that I like to work in on like a third and a short, or a third and medium, or a fourth and medium, or a fourth and short type situation against a spread user. A lot of times you play against like Florida or Ohio State when they've got Pryor subbed in, or somebody like that. They're going to sit in spread formations, 5 wide, 4 wide formations, basically all game, and they're just going to keep throwing passes. So even though you got like third and 5, third and 4, you might see them come out in 5 wide. They're going to look to hit a short pass. And here's a defense that I use to try to combat that, kind of mix things up, get some pressure on the quarterback, play man defense, which most people aren't expecting, and get a stop. So the basic play that I'm going to use here is from the dime normal, and it is cover one press. And basically, you could use cover one press, you could use regular cover one. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to use cover one press here just for this video. And then mostly what I'm looking to defend against are short routes over the middle. So here's a good play that I might expect somebody to run. It would be this mid-cross play out of shotgun 5 wide. This is the kind of play that either they would run or they might hot route to if they came out and they saw that I was in man coverage, because they got those slot receivers running crossing routes. So that's the kind of thing that I would expect them to audible to. Maybe a crossing route, maybe a drag route, maybe a slant route, but some kind of route over the middle with their slot receivers, a quick route over the middle. So here's the basic setup. First thing you're going to do is you're going to hot route the line to go out, crash out. So you loop the line out. Then you're going to move this middle linebacker, or this, he's actually the outside linebacker. We subbed in the outside linebacker. But the linebacker, and you want to stack him behind the defensive tackle, and then you want to blitz him. And then you want to go down and select this defensive tackle, and you want to blitz him. And then you're going to select this free safety. You're going to bring him down in this area, and you're going to blitz him. He's not actually going to blitz on the play, so you're not actually going to rush the quarterback with him, but you want to give him a blitz assignment, and I'll show you why in just a second. So let me run the play, I'll show you how it works, and then we'll talk about it for a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the instant replay mode, and we'll look at what happened and why we did what we did. Alright, so the first thing that we did was we hot routed the line to rush out, and we did that for a couple of reasons. The first reason that I do that is that basically to keep the quarterback in the pocket, right? I mean, if the ends rush out, even though we all know they don't always contain the quarterback, if they were to try to scramble, they're going to do a better job of it. And just by them rushing out, that's going to cause most players to see that, and they're going to be more likely to sit in the pocket. And that's the main thing that I want them to do. I want my opponent to stay in the pocket. I don't want them to be rolling from sideline to sideline, buying extra time, any of those kinds of things. I want them to stay between the tackles if I can get them to do so. The second reason that I do this is that I want this defensive end to rush wide on this right side. And the reason that I want this right side defensive end to rush wide is I want this offensive tackle to have to step wide with him. And what that's going to do is open up a lane between that tackle and that guard for my blitzing linebacker to shoot through. One of the problems with blitzing on this game that you run into, if you have guys that are bunched too close together, a lot of times you'll have basically a blitzer, and he'll be free. There won't be anybody blocking him, but he'll be running into his own man, and he won't get to the quarterback. He'll get stuck on it. They'll get in his way. He won't get there. So you want to avoid that. So that's the main reason that I do this. I want to create a lane. The thing that I do with the defensive tackle is I blitz him straight ahead, and basically what I want him to do here is to run right into the guard. That's basically his assignment, is run into the guard. I want to make sure that the guard blocks the defensive tackle. I want to make sure that this guard is occupied, essentially, by the defensive tackle. I don't want that guard to be able to come off and block my linebacker. I want to make sure that he blocks that tackle, and I want to make sure that he blocks him as early as possible, because that's what's going to get my linebacker a free lane to the quarterback. So I want him to rush straight ahead. I want him to go straight at the offensive guard, the defensive tackle, that is. Okay, so here's probably the most complicated element of this, and that is with this free safety. And basically what we did here was we gave him a blitz assignment. And what we did then after the snap was we took a couple steps towards the center, and then we backed away. And the whole point of this is we want to occupy this center. We want to keep him from going back and blocking that linebacker. All right. We want this center to be occupied with us and not the linebacker. And see, because he steps out to block us, that by the time we turn around and go back into coverage and he realizes that we're not actually rushing the quarterback, our linebacker's right on top of him. Our linebacker's right there, ready to go. And ready to sack the quarterback. And that center's basically completely out of the play. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. If we were to just set him into a hook zone, say we just did a hook zone, and we just guard the middle manually with a hook zone regularly, then what would happen is that center would peel back and he would block the linebacker, and then we wouldn't get any pressure, and that's going to defeat the defense. So that's something we have to do in order to get this to work. The second thing about this defense to realize, just in terms of why we use the coverage that we're using and sort of the situation that I would use it in here, is that we're playing man-to-man. And one of the benefits of man-to-man defense is if you're going to blitz, it makes it so you can blitz without leaving any areas of the field wide open. I mean, if we were to zone blitz, right, and we bring 5 or 6 guys in a zone blitz, and say it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and short, we're probably going to end up either having to leave a flat or a short zone wide open. Because we're going to have to blitz somebody. We have to cover the deep part of the field. In case they throw a deep pass. And so we can't just leave, nobody deep. We have to cover the deep part. And then we have to cover, if it's 3rd and 5, they're probably going to be looking to throw a short pass, right? So that's the downside of zone blitzing in this situation. That's why man-to-man blitz is something to look at. Like I said, if you're going to use this in 3rd and 5, 3rd and less than, short, where you think they're probably going to try to throw a short pass, you don't want to necessarily have anybody wide open or any wide open holes in your coverage. Now, if you notice here, this is what I'm talking about where we say man coverage isn't that good. If you notice here, we had a strong safety who's guarding the slot receiver. And if we weren't here with this free safety manually defending this middle area, look at how open that guy would be, right? If we were to be in deep coverage where this guy is supposed to be, and we didn't have anybody guarding this middle area, then that would just be an easy completion. And that's what most people are going to expect when they call this. When they see man coverage, that's why they're going to try to throw the middle, because that's what normally they're going to see, is that these routes are wide open. Now, there's some things you could do to try to get better coverage there. You could go press coverage. You could manually move that safety down, and then he'd have better coverage on the slot. That's not really my point. My point here is that, in my opinion, if you're going to play man coverage on this game, you have to do 2 things. Number 1, you have to cover the middle of the field, because if you don't cover the middle of the field, you're just going to get beat on crossing routes, slants, drags, any of those quick passes over the middle. They're going to work every time, all day, every day. You're not going to get a stop. And so, yeah, you might blitz, and you might force the quarterback to throw it in 2 or 3 seconds, but he's going to have a guy wide open. And usually, if you're playing against Florida, that guy's going to be pretty fast, and he's going to be off to the end zone, if you do that too often. So, my opinion, you play man coverage, you have to cover the middle. The second thing about this is that we want to get pressure on the quarterback with man coverage. See, now if we just played, say we just play a regular cover 1. Say we drop that middle linebacker back into a hook zone, and say we were playing with our safety and we were going to guard a crossing route or a drag route coming across the middle. So we were only going to rush 4. Well, the problem with that is that then these routes would eventually, these crossing routes and this post route, if we just gave these things all day to develop, they're going to eventually kill us with it. They're going to take us apart with those. We can't guard them for as long as they'll last. So that's basically the whole theory of this defense. What we want to do here is we want to get pressure on the quarterback. We want to play man coverage so we don't have any wide open gaping holes. And then we want to manually cover the middle, because this is where we think most people are going to try to throw if they see man coverage. Now, if they were going to, we're kind of giving up some things here, right? They could throw out routes, they could maybe hit some streak routes, they could do some things like that. So that's why you wouldn't want to do this all the time. You wouldn't want to make this like an every down kind of defense. This is a mix-up defense. This is a defense that you throw as a change of pace when they're not expecting man coverage, because, like I said, most people online, they don't play man coverage. They play, 90-95% zone coverage, unless they're in quarters defense. And, who wants to play quarters defense all the time and never get any pressure on the quarterback, right? So anyways, that's this defense. Cover 1, you can use cover 1 press, you can use regular cover 1. Doesn't really make a difference. And it's pretty easy to set up. It's got 2 or 3 steps, and I think it's pretty good. So anyway, I hope you guys have some success with it.